The last event, the Crucible. 48 teams of exhausted officer cadets from 16 countries make it through the finish line.
Right, y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so we're checking out something from Forces News. Now, I feel like we haven't checked out anything from Forces News in like a long time for whatever reason. But this one looks pretty cool. So this is like, I guess, a cadets competition between the American West Point and the UK Sandhurst Academy. But I guess there's also some other competitors. I think some people from Canada as well were taking part. So basically, you have these officer cadets competing in this Sandhurst Cup. So I haven't heard of this before. I think I might have heard of it from someone who went to West Point, but it should be cool. It's about 16 minutes long, and it looks like they're doing some pretty interesting stuff for this competition. So I'm interested. I think you guys will be interested. Let's go ahead and check it out. Oh, wait, is that VMI, really? Oh, man, we saw that video from VMI, and that was some cringy stuff.
It's the largest military skills competition on the planet.
One of the most physically challenging things that a person can go through.
They're going to finish this competition fully smoked.
The Americans simply call it Sandhurst, from its origins in 1967.
That's an American military term,
when the Royal
smoked.
Military Academy, Sandhurst in England, presented the USA's Academy, West Point, with an officer's sword. It was to be used as a prize for a competition to promote military excellence.
Sandhurst was an internal competition.
Oh snap! We got the Swedes as well. It looks like, at least with the M90 camo. But okay, so we have a few different American academies, and then also obviously the Brits. And we'll see who else we can find.
Here at West Point until 1992. In 1993, Sandhurst, the one in England, came from across the pond to take on the Americans, and they won.
Damn, unfortunate.
In 1997, Canada joined in, and since 2002, teams from all
The
over
mullets.
the world have taken part. It all begins here
Swedes.
with a relay race that will determine the starting order for the main event.
Damn, they got a lot of competitors then. Dude, what is with the mullet? That is wild. Okay, so we have a lot of Americans here, it looks like. Let's see what this relay race looks like. I mean, it's kind of just weird that they're just in like their uniform with a rifle.
Participation is strictly by invite only. This is not just a competition, but a chance to build friendships and get to know allies.
Damn, okay.
The one country with an automatic place
Diving?
is the UK,
That's a
but there are a few consistent
decent little
returnees
drop
like
right there.
Canada, Japan and South Korea. And for obvious reasons, this year, NATO looms large, with
What is
Norway
that dude
and
on?
Finland joining for the very first time.
Why does he look like he's from Tears
The
for
US
Fears?
Military Training Academy here at West Point is mandated by Congress to train 4,400 officer cadets every year.
That is a
And
nice
it's
looking
huge,
building.
over 40 square miles with all its training areas. The main
Golly.
competition is comprised of 14 events over 48 hours spread right across the
Some medical
campus, designed
stuff.
to test the basic skills needed to survive and thrive
Grenade
in a
assault
combat
course,
environment,
okay.
from physical endurance to
Ooh.
shooting to communications and combat medicine. The
Okay.
visiting teams now have 2 days to try out the
combo,
various
some
events
waterborne
and
stuff.
hopefully slightly alleviate the home
Chemical,
team advantage.
biological, radiological,
First up,
nuclear
the
stuff.
British try out the M17
Ooh.
pistol, not a weapon they normally use.
Anybody not fired a pistol before?
I mean, it's
Awesome.
probably not
Seeing
too
wildlife
different
on the
from...
range today. Wave your
what
hand,
they'd
yell
use.
ceasefire, let us know. Please don't shoot the animals. There shouldn't be any out there, but we've had deer, bear, and turkeys out there before.
Shit, turkey dinner sounds like. Okay, so hopefully the Americans can win on the shooting front. Come on
when
now.
hit, so you can see when you've hit all the targets and you've got about 6 in front of you, so it's quite good.
Right.
The
targets are better than ours then.
They're also 3D, allows us to kind of just figure 11 and figure 12 targets, which is good, and they can tell you where you're hitting, but these are
So some
pretty
pop-up
cool.
Ivans, I think, is what they're shooting at.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's got a safety. You feel a bit more like reassured. I think we've got we keep ours in a holster, and the holster is the safety for the Glocks.
That's how it should
You've
be.
got a safety on the side, so it only gives you a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's a Glock. So if they're using Glocks, it's not going to be much different. I mean, the trigger is significantly better on the M17. But yeah, it's a striker-fired pistol. There's really not a whole lot to it, except kind of like what you're saying. This has an external safety, which, you know, in my opinion, isn't really necessary for, a sidearm. But, for the military, it's kind of one of those things. Interesting shooting stance, though.
Sort of reassurance, and
Yeah.
they're pretty much very similar. Like all of the taking apart, putting back together, the weapons, most of the weapons handling is pretty similar to our Glock, so it's not too much of a disadvantage going to the competition.
It's like that.
Like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Another event will put it on full US chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear protective gear and then conduct some sort of task. Communicating alone, I found, was probably going to be difficult, though
Just yell.
Sandhurst are hopefully slightly more proficient.
You have voice modulators you can get, so you can talk a little easier, but it looks like that's not what they have. Oh, dude. I wonder how
Whilst
those
wearing
masks
the
are.
kits, the teams will need to tie knots and at speed. So having mastered the outfits, it was then
Okay.
time to try tying.
Up the hole.
Bowling is super easy. You can do that with your eyes closed, really.
Strangle it, put it through its face.
But if you haven't done it before, then yeah, it's going to be kind of tricky, especially if you're doing it with the gear on. But yeah, I wonder how easy their masks are donning compared to
For
the
years, the
M50
Sandhurst Cup was
that we have.
dominated by the UK, with occasional wins from Canada. Then the US grew tired
guys
of
are on
losing
drugs.
and built a team whose sole purpose was to train and compete in military skills competitions. Let me introduce Uzma Black and Uzma Gold.
Message for the British. Seems like nice team, but just so they know they're not going to win it this year. They're not going to take the sword from us. So we'll see them out there on the fields of friendly stride.
Oh my gosh,
This
such
year,
an officer
representing
term.
the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, we have the red team and the blue team. I asked
Golly, you know you're getting old when like all the, I mean they're cadets, they're not like really officers yet, at least in the US military they're not officers yet, but yeah, it's depressing when everybody starts looking like privates basically. That's how you know you're getting old in the
them who
military.
are the ones to beat.
When the
Feels
officers
like everyone's
start
out to get us,
looking
to be
like that.
honest. So,
Does it really?
yeah, I think the Americans have definitely got it in for us.
Is this like the Eurovision Song Contest? It's like no one wants us to win.
Yeah, except it won't be nil points for us this time. So
Ooh, fighting talk.
fighting talk. They all like to make a lot of noise, and I think we're more shut up and just get on with it. I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, let's
particularly
actually
scary.
just
Not massive
go
amount
with
of
that
running.
advice.
There's a lot of running, but it's fine.
Alec, come on.
There's a little
That's
too
your
much hype.
potential. Let's go. You gotta push it. You gotta push it.
Coaching the Sandhurst teams is Captain TJ Eddy. He's in the UK on exchange from the US.
A lot of them love
Oh,
to
damn.
make fun of my American accent. It's been nice coming to West Point and giving them a little bit back here now that I'm no longer the minority but the majority here. So getting to tease them on their idiosyncrasies has been a bit of a pleasure before I go back.
Oh my
to,
God, he talks
my
like such
prisoner
an
exchange
officer
at
too.
At the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. The uniqueness
That's cool
about
to be
the-
on exchange though.
The Brits is that they are overly calm in most situations. They seem the calmest and the most relaxed of all the teams here, which I'm hoping will translate into them performing very well tomorrow.
So the Scandinavian
Word.
countries are quite big this year. Can I talk to you?
Oh, Finland.
Norway?
No, I'm Denmark.
Denmark, sorry, Denmark. and
Oh my
Finland.
God. Oh, awkward. He's like, and because of that, now you can't talk.
Okay, how are you guys doing so far?
Doing good.
Who are your closest contenders?
Well, we have a kind of a Scandinavian battle going on. So we're friends, but we also want to beat each other.
They don't give a shit about anybody else.
People take this very seriously, don't they?
Valid.
No, I don't think so. At least the Nordic countries, because we know that we are not going to win this competition, and it's much more to be together here and cadets meet each
Damn.
other.
He's got
and,
interesting
have a
looking
good time
camouflage
together.
We've been
material.
training pretty hard. We're not
He's also got a thick
super sure
Finnish
what we're gonna do on
accent.
the military side, but on the physical side, we're super confident. Yeah, we're very,
She
very
looks
good
like
at
she's like
CrossFit, so
16
everything
years
that's
old.
Lifting weights, we're pretty good.
Is there a secret weapon in here somewhere?
Oh my
who
gosh,
is your?
he's right here.
Is he right here?
Yeah, he's right
What's
there.
your name?
The Canadian team this year also seemed to be powered by
Why?
mullets.
What's
not the
going on with
tactic
that dude?
adopted by the Americans.
Yes, the Canadians, they've embraced the mullet. We prefer a nice combed head of hair, clean cut, and that's our secret sauce.
Oh, let's see if it pays off. I think the mullet gives them some extra power
The relay
though.
race created an initial leaderboard, with the British coming in an impressive 4th and very respectable 18th out of 48 teams.
I mean, holy cow, there's just a lot of American teams. So like seeing some American teams up in, you know, the top kind of makes sense. But that's just because there are so many American teams. I mean, they're also in last as well. So let's see. We got, damn, Mexico. Okay, Norway. VMI. Oh, golly. Such an interesting military academy. Okay, so a lot of freaking teams, to be honest. Even like Georgia, what the heck? Damn.
Based on this, the next stage of the competition was a military version of the NFL draft, whereby teams had to fight it out to determine which event they would start at and who they'd be up against. Squad leaders were intentionally separated from their teams to put them under pressure. It was a good opportunity for patch trading and to ramp up the fighting talk.
I like the non-verbal communication, just holding a patch out, pointing to a patch.
Royal Danish Military Academy will compete with the Finns in lane 2 and Sweden, Skåne is Danish.
Shots fired.
By the end of the night, the starting order was in place, with the British Blues up against Japan, Norway,
There's a lot of
Arkansas,
hype, at
Minnesota
least,
and
so
Marquette, and the Reds
looks fun.
in a group with Finland, Denmark, Vermont, Pennsylvania and Virginia.
The different state universities and stuff.
So it's 6:30 a.m. Everyone's in their starting positions.
Gross.
Looking a bit nervous.
All right, I want to see what this looks like.
The UK red team begin with grenade throwing before moving on swiftly to event 2 on the lake.
Welcome to this lane. How are we all doing?
Well, that grenade
Great.
thing seemed super
All
short.
right, super. This is the Zodiac lane. We're replicating Operation Pegasus on this one. You're going to pick up two team members that are behind enemy lines.
I'm curious what they're going to be doing with this. Oh, literally just, okay. This looks like annoying. I don't know which country would be like the best with this, but...
How are the UK doing?
They're killing it. They might get a record time. I don't know.
Damn. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of teamwork associated with this. Damn, they're crushing it though. Those other teams aren't even like close. The head start is unreal. Like, there's no way. It'd be interesting to kind of see the
each event. Getting to the next location fastest earns them time bonuses.
Okay.
So absolutely phenomenal performance.
The differences in kit would
Make sure
be
you
interesting
maintain
to
your
kind of
momentum.
see.
That champion mindset that you all have, demonstrate it here and continue to push. You guys are doing amazing. I love it. All right, keep up the good work.
You've got a red.
Some of them look very
2x2
dejected.
with the white and the grey ramp sticking out to the right over.
The communications event sees the teams passing messages across a sports pitch in order to build a small Lego construction.
Okay, that seems a little goofy. I mean, it's fun, a fun way to do it, but I mean, just establishing the comms is kind of like the biggest test, I guess, in kind of picking up a radio and then programming a frequency and being able to actually, you know, assemble everything properly so you can talk to somebody on the other side. I imagine that's probably the biggest part in it. And then just, yeah, communicating to build the Lego it's interesting. It's more fun than kind of like anything else, especially when you consider like military or reporting formats for different things, like a situation report, are probably going to look slightly different. So kind of just taking the actual training out of it like that, as far as like giving someone an edge, it's kind of a fun way to approach it.
Catch this person, you're good. Catch him at the end of the hill. Catch him. Come on, Jay, let's go.
What I think I'm seeing is a real sense
Does
of
he have two
competition,
rocks on his back?
but above all else, a great sense of camaraderie. Yeah, these people will operate around the world together throughout their careers, so they're going to recognise faces somewhere else in the near future, in somewhere dangerous, and that's why
This
these
dude looks
competitions
like
are so important.
He looks and sounds like he should be in Star Trek or something. He sounds like such a British
It's
officer.
very easy going through officer training. I know personally to get very stovepiped in solely focused on my future and my service, my country. This
Oh,
is
they
a
got
real
some claymores?
eye-opening event that no matter what you do in your career, you are not going to do it alone. You are going to have partners. You're going to have the joint force, whether that's American, Canadian, the UK. You're never going to operate alone. So you need to develop those leadership skills and those interpersonal skills to work with a variety of cultures and other militaries. And that's what you get to do here for probably the 1 or 2 weeks a year that everyone comes together here and
That
leaves
looks
their
like
home
fun.
academy. You get to experience what that's going to be like when you operate as a coalition,
Oh yeah,
as a
no.
joint force.
You lost
What's
me on
next?
this one, man.
Right, so this is going to be the weapons lane, so they'll have to do some sort of physical event in the first half of it, and then they'll have to move down and assemble and disassemble a M249 and an M240 Bravo, both U.S. weapon systems that the Brits don't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, like, because it looked like they were doing stuff for the Claymore as well. And I don't know if the Brits have the Claymore exactly, you know, the same kind of model that we have. But I imagine some of these guys have at least seen it or gotten some exposure with training to these, you know, standards that they're testing on here. But especially like picking up a 249 or a 240, those are American weapon systems. Like people are going to be much more familiar with it. At least the Americans are. So a little bit of an unfair advantage. Of course, the Brits do have like similar weapons and stuff, but still some things might throw them off.
Are they any good at it?
They've had more training than they have in previous years, but I think this is going to be a big challenging lane for us.
You've helped them out quite a lot here, right?
That's correct. We were able to get them up to a U.S. Air Force base in the UK and get them some hands-on on the weapon systems, which they haven't been able to do in previous years.
Oh, so they should be okay.
They're still going to win.
That was a lot of prep. Damn. To go to another base just to get hands on the weapon. It's hard to do at your own base
competitors,
sometimes.
Some of this was to be done blindfolded.
Let's go! Grab those kettlebells and run! Grab those kettlebells and run! Let's go! Drive! Give it your all!
No
It's a nice
mishaps
looking
so
field,
far. Consistently, though, I think our movements between lanes could be a little bit better. We'll see how it progresses the rest of the day because it's a marathon, not a sprint. So as the other teams get tired, I think our team has the resiliency to be able to push through and start getting that first place moving between lanes later in the day.
Yeah, basically you want them to speed up.
Dude.
Yeah. Have you told them that?
So I know he's saying that it's, you know, kind of more of a marathon versus a sprint, which, you know, in some cases is true for sure. But those Canadian dudes looked like super cracked out. So if they're keeping that like the whole time, that's something to be worried about. If they're doing like, you know, one event being fully cracked out and then like the fifth event they're still like that, yeah, that'd be a little concerning.
They're well aware.
There it is! Good!
Functional fitness was a never-ending, exhausting stream of medicine ball throwing, wheelbarrows, I'm not sure if they have a technical name, and up and overs.
Those are
But the
goofy.
Finns were still happy to be alive.
Go Finland!
How are you doing? Well, we're doing pretty well, thanks. We have been very, very excited to coming here in the United States. This is the first time that Finland have ever competed in Sandhurst.
Oh,
So
damn, okay.
This has been so great.
I saw the other dude. He looked ancient, and this guy looks
wonderful.
a lot younger, a lot more
we just keep
energetic,
going.
so that's good.
Beating Denmark.
Absolutely, we are in all the Scandinavian and Nordic countries.
You're going to win. You're going to beat
Damn.
all of them, are you?
We try to. We try our best.
Good luck.
He's separating the Scandinavian and Nordic too.
Get him loaded onto a stretcher. Good to go and shoot him hard further. Stretcher's ready!
After testing their combat medic skills, the officer cadets launch into a 9-mile tab, or ruck in American speak,
Ooh,
before 2
unfortunate.
team members embark on night
Damn.
navigation. Having dropped back into 10th place, the red team storm the night nav, bringing them back to 7th. They
Damn.
begin day 2 with the assault course.
The obstacle course is always like more fun than anything, because if you're functionally
Then
fit, it's
onto
not going to be
marksmanship,
too
firing
bad.
the M4 carbine.
Again, like
Next
there might be
is
some
call for fire.
some biases here,
Add 100.
making it easier for the Americans.
Teams are split, with half calling in fire and the others firing in West Point's simulation centre.
I like how they're just like flipping through all this stuff, trying to figure out what they're shooting at. Okay, they got this infantry stuff. All right, good stuff. Damn.
The last event, the Crucible. 48 teams of exhausted officer cadets from 16 countries make it through the finish line, and finally their marathon is
They just blew through that dude.
The nations celebrate in their own individual ways. They have just a short wait now before the overall winners of this year's Sandhurst Cup will be revealed.
Damn. Looks like a fun time, dude.
The Allies gather in the largest mess hall they've probably ever been in. West Point feeds its 4,400 officer cadets here at the same time each day, and it's pretty impressive.
Damn.
Canada thought they and their mullets had done enough, but in the end it was USMA Black who brought it home. Canada second and the US Air Force Academy third. UK Red and Blue finally placed 14th and 35th. Coach Captain Eddie has the final word.
So coming here as an American officer, leading
okay,
the UK
good stuff,
team,
Americans.
I thought I would have some
Holding
divided
down.
loyalties between the United States and the United Kingdom, but
Again, they did have some things to make it a little bit easier, kind of setting them up for success. But I'm gonna take the W for us.
I showed up 100%
Good on
rooting
them.
for both Red and Blue from the UK. Both performed phenomenally, and it's been an absolute honor to lead both teams. I will say that it's been absolutely reassuring that, considering a land war in Europe and rising tensions in the Pacific, seeing our friends and allies performing to such a high standard reassures you that our alliances could not be any stronger, and that the people that we'll be fighting alongside someday are just as good as we are. The team couldn't be more cohesive.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well
Hannah
said.
King, Forces News at West Point, USA.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, you get to see like the officers from all these other nations just going through the same kind of suck and enduring through it, you know, as much as y'all are, which is kind of cool to see. And again, like you're saying, it's reassuring to see, especially with, you know, kind of the looming potential conflict. Yeah, these competitions are always awesome. Like, I think the competition in general just brings out the best of people, and especially in the military, there's a lot of it. I mean, just talking about like Marines compared to the Army, there's a lot of kind of like pride in that. You know, Army versus Navy when it comes to like the football games, there's a lot of things like that where you see this competition coming out, and it really kind of brings everybody to kind of work to their best, especially when it comes to teamwork and stuff. So stuff like this, even though they might not necessarily come out on top, the amount of preparation and work that goes into, you know, kind of preparing for this, it definitely helps a lot in at least developing them and getting people to kind of understand kind of where their limitations would be. For me, again, kind of thinking about stuff that I've done. I mean, I've done like some tryouts and selections and stuff, but also just like in general, when I was in the Marines, we had a division squad competition, and I was a squad leader for that. And that definitely taught me a lot about myself as far as how to lead, especially when you're just, everybody's just completely exhausted, kind of prioritizing things a little bit differently, but not kind of sacrificing the general standard that you're trying to uphold. So yeah, it's good for the competition. It's good for the esprit de corps, you know, if you will. Especially in between different countries, but it is kind of cool for yourself to kind of develop and prepare for something like this and learn a lot about yourself. So if you guys have done something like this, whether it be a competition in general, but especially like a military sort of competition, or maybe even like a selection or tryouts, even if you didn't necessarily come out on top, let me know what you guys thought as far as how it actually you know, helped develop you or get you to understand something about yourself. Because, yeah, those days when I was doing that division squad competition and I was going 3 days without sleep, and it was literally all I could do to just not fall asleep. It was interesting when you're kind of put in a position like that and you're still being told to do other things. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you guys have gone through anything like that. But again, hopefully you guys just enjoyed the video in general. If you have anything to recommend that's similar to this, I definitely love to check it out. And I appreciate the subscriber who sent this my way, because again, I haven't checked out anything from Forces News in quite a while, and I know their stuff is always pretty cool. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. That is it for this one. I'll see you on the next one.